Gamers on a budget, rejoice! It is a rare day to see AliExpress deliver truly awesome, cheap, unique tech products, but today is one such day. This is my Erying Tiger Lake i9, and for over a year, it was the beating heart of my personal system. I loved it, and so did a bunch of reviewers. But this itself isn't the amazing AliExpress tech, because while it was breathtaking for the price, it wasn't without issues. I have, from the outset, run a 240mm AIO on this, which is a laptop chip. But even so, well, yeah. And I think I know why. This little slug here is the factory heat spreader, crudely hewn from aluminum with a fly cutter, and then it had this copper plug just brutalized into it like a caveman inventing the axle. It works, sort of, but there's an obvious mechanical problem here, as well as a materials issue, both of which lead to some dumb behavior, like extreme thermal paste pumping. Mechanically, there's an issue where the only portion of this that contacts either the die or the cooler cold plate is the tiny copper slug itself, because it protrudes. And then the design doubles down on the dumb with the bare aluminum, meaning that there's no point in attempting liquid metal. Enter this, the holy grail of AliExpress engineering, a one-off idol you'll never witness again. This is a vapor chamber heat spreader. Not just a vapor chamber though, a nickel-clad vapor chamber. Now, vapor chambers have a massive advantage over a conventional heat spreader because they leverage latent heat and phase changes to move heat rather than boring old conduction. I won't bore you with that lecture though, and instead we'll just leave a link to Advanced Thermal Solutions video on it. Beyond that primary advantage though is the obvious upgrade in surface area. This thing is massive with a huge contact area on both sides that should, in theory, dramatically improve heat transfer. And for icing the cake, the nickel plating means that liquid metal is on the table, although it won't be used here. To see if it's any good, I'm gonna brutalize this little i9 with a maximum stress test run in Prime 95 with the factory heat spreader in its current state, then with new thermal paste, and finally with fresh thermal paste on the vapor chamber. I'll be using RTSS and Afterburner to monitor the temperatures like an animal, because for this test, honestly, it'll be fine. First up, the original configuration, and oh boy, spicy, I guess we could use as a word to describe it. It wasn't even worth waiting for the AIO to reach thermal saturation, as the CPU immediately skyrocketed to temperatures capable of nuclear fusion. A quick clean and application of fresh thermal paste meant it was ready for a second round of savagery, and though the improvement was clear, there's still room to get better. For everyday use, this could be perfectly serviceable, as this is an unnatural synthetic load, but in spite of that, the inevitability of future thermal paste pumping means it's worth pursuing a solution that can only be described as more betterer. Finally then, the challenger stepped into the ring. The massive load this one took to cover completely quickly left the factory solution feeling emasculated and weak. And rightly so, because holy hell, look at that improvement. This is clearly the way to cool a CPU, which then begs the question, why doesn't every CPU use one of these? Unfortunately, I have two reasons for an answer. One naturally is money. While this costs a mere $18, even if we assume an enormous 260% markup, we have to consider scale. In 2023, for example, Intel shipped 50 million CPUs worldwide, so an added cost of just $5 to each CPU would cut $250 million off the books for a company that can't really afford that right now. The second reason, though, is even more obvious: practicality. This vapor chamber size is its strength and its weakness. Here it is compared to a gargantuan enthusiast class Intel chip, and then compared to the standard consumer-sized chip of 1st through 11th gen desktop CPUs. For soldered CPUs like the i9 on the Erying, this is fine, but imagine trying to design a socket around this thing for interchangeable CPUs. Now, of course, we can't end on a downer, and this channel is supposed to be about gaming, so let's quickly see how it does for that. Oh yeah, that's the good stuff. And on that highlight, thank you all for watching. Subscribe if you enjoyed this superficial examination, and I'll see you all in the next one.